Hello and welcome to another episode of Page Burners. We're working our way through the Malazan books in publication order. We're reading books by both authors Steven Erikson and Ian Esselmont. Today we start a discussion of Bonehunters, which is the sixth book in the Malazan Book of the Fallen series. We're going to be talking about the prologue to chapter 2. That's where we are stopping our discussion for today. Next week will be chapters 3 and 4. If you're reading along with us, please check out the Patreon forum. We do a lot of planning and thread discussions there. With me, of course, we have the usual group of friends. Everybody will go around discussing what they are most excited to talk about. I'm probably going to steal someone else's, but I will start with saying I want to discuss that conversation that Hellian had with the dragons. Shannon.
You stole mine.
Sorry.
No, I figured somebody was going to pick that one. So I had a backup. I actually want to talk about the epigraph going into the whole book. I particularly like this one, and I thought it was just really well planned. Carl?
I can go next. I think Carl needs a minute. I also wanted to talk about the conversation with the dragons, and I guess everything that happened in the Shadow Realm. There were many things happening there, but also the Nameless Ones and the whole process of freeing Dejim Nebrahl. There was a lot of information shared there, and it was very interesting.
I'm Carl. This is my second time through the series, and I think I'm probably most excited about everything that y'all said, but if I had to pick something else, I would just say I really like the other part of the prologue, that being opening with the weird Cult of Direct stuff and what the hell is going on in the city of, is it Coral? What city are we in? Is Coral right? Kartool, thank you. I knew it was one of the K ones. Kartool. And, there's all these creepy spiders, which is like my worst nightmare. And Hellian is a character we get introduced to who I love very much. So I'm excited to talk about that. And I think that might actually be the very first thing. So is it?
Oh, no one said sorry, so I'll make that my thing too. Sorry, Apsalar. Or not Apsalar.
So we do open in Kartool, right?
Yes. That's a very first scene with Hellian.
Well, before you move into Kartool, so I want to talk about the epigraph before that.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Mm-hmm. Go for it.
So I just so it's called The Age Descending, and it's talking about it says for all that is made real in this age descending, where the heroes leap not, but their iron ring of their names. And Bart starts, and it keeps going, and it's about how the heroes are gone and who's going to answer for them. And it really made me think about this book and then the place of this book, and I think you can look at it very much as it's talking about the bridge burners. They've recently died, as far as because these books so far, you have book 1 led into book 3, book 2 led into book 4. 4 kind of spun out 5 a little bit, but that happened before everything. This book is actually the sequel to books 3 and 4. We follow the Bonehunters as well as Dujek, because he joins in. And so those heroes are gone, and who's going to answer for them? Well, the book's called The Bonehunters. So it's kind of hyping me up for this book, and are we going to be able to live up to that?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned all of that. I'm sad we don't have Steve and Dan with us today, our first time readers, because this is the book really where I feel like you start to see the threads coalescing beyond, obviously every individual book kind of has an arc of its own, but this is really where all of these disparate storylines start coming together. and you can start to see the shape of the whole 10-book series. And, we're just now getting maybe hints at it. I mean, we're literally just starting the book, but I mean, this was the book where, for the first time around, I started it and it was like, okay, I'm just like marathoning through the rest of the series. And that's what I did. I don't remember how long I took. I imagine I was reading other stuff as well, but I did not take any breaks in between books from here on out, just because I didn't want to. I loved what was happening so much, and I felt like I finally understood where things were going, and I was excited to see exactly what that looked like.
Interesting. I did not blaze my way through the rest of the series. I famously took 8 months to read Toll the Hounds, but 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 this one I blazed through. Like, this was a book that there were parts that I stayed up all night to read. So I'm excited to reread this and see where it fits in terms of, like, I think Deadhouse Gates became a bigger favorite this time than Memories of Ice. So I wonder if other books will displace and like readjust in their overall ordering for me in the series.
I always wondered, because this book, if you like read forums or discussion groups, Bonehunters don't end up being the top 3, or they are not that often picked as the favorite of the series. I always wondered, what is it that people maybe like less about this book, because to me it's amazing. It's easily my top 3.
Mm-hmm. Ditto.
Yeah, that's wild to me. This book is just like, it's crazy all the way through. I mean, I think it opens really strongly, but like, we haven't seen nothing yet. Like, it gets nuts. So to any first time readers, like, you're in for a wild ride. I'm with you, America. I think it's easily one of the best books in the series.
Yeah, speaking of what you were saying, Varsha, yeah, that you just reminded me about staying up late reading. Yeah, there's that one chapter where I don't think I realized what I was getting into, and I stayed up till like, I think like 2 a.m. or something reading that chapter because I just couldn't stop.
Yeah, I stayed up until 5 a.m. But that's because my usual bedtime is 2. But yes, I think that was the chapter 2 that kept me up. And then the stuff with the second half of the book. This book is also supposedly, it should have been published as 2 books, but was combined into one novel. So we make a distinct change about not quite halfway through, but I think books 3 and 4 are different, right? So
wait, what?
So apparently the second part of the book was supposed to be published as a separate novel. So to some people it reads disparately, and I think Erikson explained why, in that it's supposed to be like 2 different books.
How does that work structurally?
I'll have to pay attention then.
Like, knowing that he had a 10-book contract and he had the titles for all 10 of the books, supposedly, from the very beginning, was there some... Oh, I guess Crippled God got split into 2 books, didn't it? So that's probably where the split happened.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So would this have been part of Reaper's Gale? But Reaper's Gale is not on this continent anymore. So yeah,
No,
I don't know. I'm curious about that. I'm curious about where this would have fit if it had been published as a separate book, but maybe just its own book. Yeah, just its own book. And then the Crippled God and Dust of Dreams as one 2,000 page long
That'll
book.
be crazy.
That's pretty wild. I'm going to have to sit with that one.
So,
shall we jump into Kartool and our prologue?
Take us to Kartool and your spiders, Carl. You love so much.
Okay, so the first thing that stands out to me, and it stood out on a first read as well, I feel like by this point in the series, Erikson has trained us to think that we're going to open a Malazan book 300,000 years ago with one of the elder races committing war crimes. And that's not what you get. You open a few years ago with presumably human beings committing war crimes and also giant spiders. And what's that?
Not a few years ago. It's like 20 days ago.
Then,
This is
okay,
24 days
ago. There you
after.
go. Yeah.
But the second part of your theme still holds, like elders committing war crimes.
Right.
The nameless ones, right?
Right. And I mean, we do find out that maybe some of the nameless ones are not human, but it's still, it's a very, I remember finding it very surprising, and that the opening, like tonally, it felt very different for me. It didn't have the I think a big part of it is just that you're in Hellian's point of view right at the jump, and she is a very Erikson character, but not the type of Erikson character who typically opens books. And so she's this 19-year-old drunk who's been given a crappy job and basically thinks she messes up and is going to get an even worse job. And she lives in a city full of spiders who infested it after the Malazans took over, I guess, right? That's what they say. We learn a little bit of Malazan history, how the Empire conquered the city. And then we learn a little bit.
Did the spiders come after the conquest? I'm not sure I realized that. Is that what the chapter says?
There was something like that. I may be misremembering exactly what it is, but the spiders were not native.
I found the line. It's and since the yellow-banded Peralt spiders had been the first to occupy the once infamous towers following the Malazan conquest. So I don't know if they came to the island or started occupying and spreading more after the Malazan conquest. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that does sound like that. Maybe they were native to the area, but had not come into the city until the upper skyscrapers were cleared out with the conquest. It is a very haunting image. Very sort of horror atmosphere. But beyond that, it kind of puts the Malazan conquest in a dark light that, presumably the city's population has been lowered significantly, or at least they're not using the buildings the way they used to, so that these giant carnivorous spiders have infested large portions of the city. I just think it's a really interesting detail. I mean, it's classic epic fantasy in a pulpy way, very sort of Dungeons and Dragons. And then we get the Cult of Derek, the Worm of Autumn. We learn that Derek is sort of the top dog in Kartool, and all the other dogs are subservient to Derek. They also name Derek as she, right? Am I crazy, or is Derek is female?
I think I also have the sense that she's female, but I feel like I knew that before this book, so I don't know if I'm remembering it from reading it the last time around or what. But
we may have. I think I sort of instinctively, when I first learned about the Worm of Autumn, which I think was the first time I read Gardens of the Moon, because Derek is mentioned in the appendix. I'm not gonna lie. I think when I think of a giant worm, it's kind of a masculine imagery, let's say, and so I think I just assumed it was male, but apparently not. And that's cool. And she has weird, crazy cults, and then they're all dead, which is pretty nasty. We also learned Tayshrin, right? I mean, I guess we did know that. That was mentioned in passing. That's also a little thing that I would like to mention, which is I feel like this book is actually really fun to read after Knight of Knives. That Knight of Knives weirdly feels like it sets up a lot that is very important in this book.
I think they have to. Erikson and Aslan had to have been talking to each other when they were writing these two books, because there's he's picking up on stuff from Knight of Knives directly.
There's what was I gonna say? Well, we just talked about Jack. There was something that I thought was also a follow-up to Knight of Knives. Oh yes, so we were talking about how I forget if it was in Knight of Knives or earlier than that, when we were talking about how Sully's strategies like kill all the mages and stuff. But it seems to me to be a practice that Kellenwith started, at least, because he's at least killing the priests. I don't know if he's specifically targeting mages, but he destroyed the cult, which essentially means killing the form of magic that comes with this god, right?
Well, he didn't kill the cult. He just stopped letting them be in charge, because
Yeah.
they
My
talk about
understanding
before the.
it is, and I think they say this in like Memories of Ice or Deadhouse Gates, Kellenved, after they conquered a people, would essentially like completely destroy the ruling class, whatever that ruling class is.
Mhm.
So nobles, priests, merchants, whoever they were, he would annihilate them. So that, I mean, supposedly it was kind of winning over the populace, but also very obviously it's so he had a clean slate to impose his own imperial structure onto the city, the country, whatever it is. And so I think that's what happened here is the priests ruled. So he wiped out a lot of the priests.
Got it. You were
The
saying,
Cult
Michael?
of Drag is also, I think, whenever we hear of it, it's described as very powerful, and well, Tatian is one of its former mages, right? And he's maybe equal to Kellenved. So I think, that was basically the Emperor's only choice as to target the cult and assert dominance that way, because otherwise they would just remain powerful. And we will learn a lot about Kartool and about the Cult of Drag in Aslamon books.
Okay,
So stay
nice.
tuned for that.
Nice. Yeah.
Because I'm very curious about all that.
Just want to
Yeah,
quickly
it's very
interject
cool.
for our listeners. Yeah. We are going to be spoiling as we go make our way through the series all the Esselmon books that we read along the way too. So if you haven't, it's not, spoilers aren't going to be restricted just to the Malazan Book of the Fallen, just so anyone listening is aware. We've talked a little bit of Knight of Knives. We haven't spoiled anything major yet, but we might. So just be careful of that if you're listening. Cool.
Yeah, I'm glad we clarified that because I realized we hadn't actually explicitly said that we're going to do that. But since we're this is a read along, that makes sense. So Knight of Knives, I think, totally should be fair game.
Now, when I miss our new readers is the second part of the prologue where we meet Barathol Mekhar, because I was interested to see who they thought this was, because he's got that name, Mekhar.
Oh yeah, I'm curious if they latched onto that. I know the first time I read it, I was like, "Whoa, okay, I'm hyped." I mean, the description makes it pretty obvious. Got to be a relative of a certain assassin.
Well, but then we also got the noms that are all over the place, and
right,
some of them loosely related. So there's a precedent. But yeah, that was just a weird little thing thrown in there. It's almost like Erikson doing a Clint Eastwood moment with them with the Talana match showing up, and I'm like, what is this?
that also felt like a little bit of a throwback to Knight of Knives, though, right? Like with temper, and it felt like a succinct Knight of Knives. In that, he's hiding out in the middle of nowhere, and then someone really dangerous potentially comes along, and he's like, "Here, open that trunk and pull out my arm." And
yeah, I mean, that's
I'm going to do
literally
something
the
about
same
this.
scene that we saw in Knight of Knives.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
I love it. It never gets old. One guy just making a stand, or one woman, any one person making a stand, I'm there for it. And especially if it's certain death, I'm extra there for it. If they're definitely going to die and there's that feeling of tragedy and like strangely beauty. Oh,
Well, in this case, we don't know if the planimals are going to attack or not. They definitely make it seem that way.
right.
But who knows what happens?
Yeah.
But I see what you're saying. Yeah. Those are the best scenes for sure.
Well, okay, so maybe this is a good point to ask. I mean, obviously, you all are rereaders, so you have a lot of additional context. But how do you feel about, I think, the two big characters we're introduced to here, Hellian and what's his name, Mekhar?
Barathol.
Yeah, just said that
Thank you.
I'm reading this for the third time, and I just picked up on Hellian being 19 years old. I never
Crazy.
have you. Did you know? Like, I couldn't. I was shook. How can she be 19? Like, I always, like, in my mind, she always was at least in her late 30s, 40s even, because, you know, how she behaves, how, you know, she's a surgeon, she has she has the respect of her comrades and you know, everyone else. She doesn't seem like she's 19.
I didn't pick up even this time that she was 19. Where,
I don't know if I thought she was like in her 40s, but I definitely thought she was at least in her 30s. And it definitely took me aback. I mean, I think even the 20s would have surprised me, but I maybe would have been like, oh, okay. You know, I mean, if she's at least like 25, 19 is crazy.
no.
She's one of
I
the
see it
characters
now.
that
I see the
whenever
sentence.
she does something, you feel like it's coming from experience. Like, oh, she has
Yeah.
lived through some stuff. And turns out that's not the case.
Maybe that's the point. You know, like maybe this is Erikson doing one of those, like, kind of intentionally turning a trope on its head, because she reads like an old veteran who is a drunk because she's miserable and has a lot of trauma. And instead, it's a 19-year-old who hasn't done shit. And she's a drunk just because, you know, I guess because she's scared of spiders, she says, but we'll see, you know, how that continues. I would be
I'm
curious.
more jaded than you guys. Like, I mean, but ironically, I think I knew in the past she was 19 and I didn't clock it this time. But like, also just from my own life experience working in healthcare, I'm like, yeah, a lot of the very worst liver failure patients I've known are like 21. Like, I don't know what they're doing, but they've destroyed themselves somehow with alcohol already.
That's fair.
And you know, there is that
So,
scene,
I don't know.
mean, it's not a spoiler, but there are those scenes later on where she like threatens to hurt herself if the men don't do what she wants. And that's like, you know, I don't know, like,
Yeah.
do you know a 19-year-old that would manipulate men like that so easily? I don't know. Well, I guess we can talk when we get to it. But yeah, I mean, this is going to be on my mind from now on until the end of the series, that Hellian is 19 years old.
I feel the same way. That was a huge standout thing for me that I'm going to be looking for now. I mean, like, do I believe this? Do I believe she's 19? We'll see.
She seemed oddly competent to me. Not that we got to see the outcome of what she was going to do instead of what the guy, was it Banishar, tried to tell her to do, but she was overriding the instructions that he gave her. Like, she knew what was better, and I have a sense that she was right. We didn't get to see the follow through of that because he left, but she seemed, despite her drunkenness, oddly competent to me in this scene. Did you guys get that impression, or am I projecting?
I think
I mean,
so. Yeah, I think she's very sharp, and she would be exceptionally sharp if she was not drunk all the time. Probably that's how I feel about her.
I think she definitely seems intelligent. It's tough for me to judge it just because, like, clearly she messed up somewhere. I mean, she thinks that her colleagues think that because this ship got like docked and all these people unloaded without them knowing about it, which I'm like, yeah, how did that happen? That kind of seems like a giant thing to miss. You know, if you're like the city watch and you're supposed to be patrolling everything, but I also don't know. Like it's a little tough to tell because I don't know how they like work formally, what their patrol is like. You know, I feel like we don't have a lot of context. So I'm sort of just taking Hellian at her word internally. And I think externally, I think she talks about it with her comrades that like they're toast and they're for sure going to get some crappy job as a result of their failure to take note.
That's what she tells her corporal.
Yeah, the ship docking, the Malazan. Who all gets out again?
Which soldiers, you mean?
Yeah, I'm like, is it like a bunch of the old guard, like a bunch of Lassine's people in the claw? Or am I making that up? Is that a later scene? It's weirdly blurred in my memory.
It was Banisher and a few people. I don't know if the others were named or if we were told what kind of soldiers they were.
Yeah, I don't
But
remember.
he had this odd quality about him where people didn't remember who he was or what he looked like after they were done talking to him. So
yeah, he's clearly a mage, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the priestess of the Queen of Dreams recognized him, so
right.
He must have some kind of history around there.
But
Despite
was
him saying that he was from Jakarta or whatever.
Was he also a priest of Drek?
He said he was.
Yeah.
I think he said he was a priest of Drek in Jakarta, which is the other city on Malaz Island.
Interesting.
Wait, okay. So which is the scene now? I am like, this is blurring in my brain now. Not good. Which is the scene where Lassine, Topper, Tashrin, a bunch of people show up?
Are we jumping ahead in the series and talking spoilers, or are we sticking
No.
chapters?
There's a scene in these chapters where they appear, isn't there?
I think that's Night of Knives. Pretty sure Sully
Tashrin shows up in the end of chapter 2.
Yeah.
Do they just talk about him?
He's talking to Quickpen.
Maybe they just talk about Lassine a lot.
They talk about it a little bit, yeah.
Yeah, Tashrin shows up, but Topper and Lassine haven't made it in this book.
No, you're right. It's when we are with the Malazan army and Quickben is there and Kalam. That's the end of chapter 2, right?
Yeah, I swear they do appear. Topper definitely appears.
Topper, yes.
Topper doesn't.
Tashrin, yes, but not Lassine.
Pearl is spying on him. And Hatter
Topper.
and Kiska show up.
4 people show up from the Imperial Warren. It's Hatter, Kiska, Dujek, and Tashrin.
Okay.
I'm tripping. I don't know.
I have a feeling that you're
there. I completely forgot that scene was in this.
You've been drinking like Hellian over there?
Those 3 were in a scene together in Night of Knives. I'm pretty
It's actually even worse. I haven't been, so I have no excuse. I don't know where this came from. I'm like, I'm having to go back into the wiki and see like, what am I thinking of?
Mirka, in the prologue, did you want to talk about the Nameless One stuff?
Yeah, definitely. So how cool was that scene? Also kind of a classic fantasy situation where we have a group of people. I guess usually it's binding, right? And in this case it was letting someone go, but yeah, very, very cool. I think there's a lot of things that can be like those little, what are they, spells? Like that each Nameless One says something, and there is a lot of information in those few sentences that every one of them states. I think what I underlined a couple things. So this is actually not something that they say, but just as a part of the narrator text, it says the Dark Hounds had a master in those days, a clever master who excelled in ensnaring sorceries, and once decided upon a task, he would not relent. So I guess, yeah, I want to know who this master of the Hounds of Darkness is, because we know from later on that the Hounds of Darkness were actually the masters at some point, right?
Yeah.
They ruled humans.
Long ago, yeah.
But then I guess we had that discussion previously where we were like, are they looking for a master when they come to Raraku? Someone says it. I think Bithidal says it, that they came to look for a master. And so, yeah, I just like that it was mentioned that they had a master at some point, and he was very powerful, and I have no idea who that is.
I thought it was Decembalakis.
But
didn't he like bite himself or something to him?
No, this was different though. It's from before Decembalakis.
Wait, but it says here, Troll Baral, I guess that's the demon that they released, demonic creations by the hand of Decembalakis himself, long before the Dark Hounds took shape in the Emperor's mind. I thought he created them somehow. I thought that sentence means that he created them somehow.
No.
That's what it sounds like, but yeah, we know that they do predate.
I think
we saw that in House of Chains.
Yeah, I think that took shape.
In the whole memory of Raraku or whatever they went into.
Means like before he ever thought about them. Not as it like in he created them, but I definitely see what you're saying there. That is confusing.
But he
wording.
did create Troll Baral, and then decided that was not a good idea, tried to kill them, but they created this child in a mortal woman, and then she gave birth to Dejim Nebrahl. Is that correct? I think so.
Yeah.
That's what it says there, right?
That's
so
it,
it's like an offspring of, I guess, not an offspring, like soul shifted from those 7 Troll Baral demons into a single creature or entity, and that's it's a diverse, but I think they said it is like 7 consciousness separate, like it is slightly different than a diverse. It is all very confusing, I think. There's a lot of information there.
Yeah, it sounds like they saved themselves through him. Like somehow they put themselves in him, and then he's a diverse kind of.
Okay, yeah, and then he was captured by the Hounds of Darkness and chained or trapped somehow, and now they're letting him go, and they want a task to be completed. And I think we know what it is from the hints that they drop, but I don't know if a first-time reader would pick up on it. They said that they must acknowledge the grief for the impending demise of an honorable servant, and we kind of already know one of the servants of the Nameless Ones. It was mentioned before. I don't know. Okay, let's just move on. I think that's okay. Nothing to be mentioned there. I like how they mentioned that the Shadow Throne must not be underestimated. He possesses too much knowledge of the Azath, of us. He is not yet our enemy, but that alone does not make him our ally. So the Nameless Ones are worried of Shadow Throne, or like concerned about Shadow Throne, which is pretty cool given that they have existed for thousands of years, and now this new occupant of the Throne of Shadow is making them nervous. And then the one thing that really surprised me, I don't think I realized that Sister Spide was Otataro aspected. Or maybe I forgot. I don't know. Did that come as a surprise to you guys as well?
Yes.
Okay. And I'm not sure if that will come up in the Karkanas books eventually. I hope it will. But I didn't pick up on that before.
Yeah, no, that was a surprise for me too. I'd completely forgotten that scene. So that was awesome to read. It was like reading it anew, and very cool stuff all around. I do like, this is not a spoiler, but like I having finished the series, I don't remember if we ever find out what the Nameless Ones deal is. I mean, we know they're like related to the Azath house, but I like couldn't tell you what it is they're actually trying to do. And so that's something I'm really going to be looking for, is trying to piece together what the hell is going on with them, like in terms of like long-term plans and their purpose in the world, because I just really couldn't begin to tell you what their deal is.
Yeah, I'm the same. I have been paying attention to them quite a bit, just for this exact reason that I don't remember, or maybe I never understood what their deal was. So let's find out together.
Let's do it. I'll also just say, I think it's a great ending for the scene that you have all these people, including one of them is a Jagged, apparently. And the Dejim Nebrahl just like kills them all as soon as they let it out. Like that's crazy. And Spite just flies off as a dragon. I think it's a really neat way of tying that scene up.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking about it from the perspective of that cult. Like, they send these 12 people because that's what's required to free this demon. And then, I'm not sure if they weren't aware, but like, they are willing to sacrifice 11 nameless ones. I feel like being a nameless one is quite a big deal. And then 11 of them are going to die in the process of freeing this demon. So it seems like it's really, really important that he gets out and does the job. But then, yeah, I guess knowing what the job is, or having figured out what the job is kind of makes sense. We shouldn't talk spoilers, should we? No.
I also don't think they knew they were going to die. Like, Spite was convinced of it, but the rest of them, I did not get the sense they knew they were going to die.
Yeah,
I also wonder why the hell
of the leaders of the cult who sent this group over, because
right.
there must be some sort of hierarchy, right, or something.
Yeah.
Or do we think that
Why is Spite?
there are no more nameless ones after this? That's
No, I don't
probably
think
not
that.
the case.
Why is Spite one of them? Like, that seems crazy to me. Sister of Lady Envy, daughter of Draconis. What's going on there?
The Nameless Ones, we're told here they worship the Azath houses.
Right.
It's hard to talk about without spoilers, so try to think like what we don't know versus what we know.
Well, we know they like watch over Karium and have kind of manipulated him over thousands of years.
Well, I'm talking Sister Spite. We know that she's the sister of Envy. They're the daughters of Draconis. You know, by the end of, or the beginning of chapter 2, they talk about how he's a dragon and they don't know his aspect. It's a mystery. But, which I do want to talk, when we get there, I want to talk about that. The whole, like, a dragon for every one of the race. Because, like, well, what about these other ones? But anyway, yeah, so she's, I don't know.
I maybe think I know what you're alluding to. Do you think she's there because of Draconis without saying any more? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
I think it's related to Draconis.
Okay.
Is that a Karkanis reference? No?
What I'm interpreting, I think it must be at least partly.
Okay.
about Draconis' nature?
Well, partly, yeah. Yeah.
I don't know.
I was trying to remember if I got that out of Carcanis or No Life Forsaken or one of the other Myrid books. I'm reading too many Malazan books at once.
The thing you're thinking of is definitely in Carcanis.
Okay.
And
yes.
I feel pretty confident about it.
I think that would be her connection to the Nameless Ones.
Okay. But still, what I mean, that makes kind of sense. Anyway, this is a difficult. We shouldn't be having this conversation because it's just gonna like be filling space here for unless you know. Mm-hmm. I mean, I do imagine probably most people who are listening have read the whole book series, but for the people who've not, and for Varsha who hasn't read Carcanis, we'll hold off on more.
Okay.
I think that pretty much it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was saying I really liked that each of the Nameless Ones went around and talked. Like normally when you have 12 people who have something to say, the rest of the thing gets summarized in some form, which it did in a little bit in that their proclamations got shorter and shorter as they went, but then all of them got a say. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It felt
kudos.
Be happy about.
Kudos to the Nameless Ones for their organizational skills.
I was going to say, they feel very like ritualistic in how they went about it, mm-hmm. which I do think shows you a lot about who they are and how they function. I mean, they're clearly like a religious order.
Yeah. And it's interesting too that they are tied to the Azath houses, which are for keeping dangerous things trapped, and they are going and releasing something that's dangerous enough to eat all of them immediately after release. So, yeah, what are they trying to accomplish?
Well, it's something that must be they think is a greater threat than that, which is, yeah. And they're not necessarily right, but that's what they're thinking.
Also, I'm not sure, I mean, I guess they just want this demon to do something for them, and then do they plan for what happens afterwards? It doesn't sound like it. Then this demon is just going to be
like it to me either.
Released upon the world, and they're like, well, too bad.
Not my problem, especially
Dejim,
because I'm
don't
dead.
You want to come back into the hole?
Yeah, like who's going to like catch it again and trap it again if previously it needed to be the Hounds of Darkness?
We've met a few people who could potentially defeat it. So
I think in their hubris they thought they could do it. I think they you know, since it was trapped by all these different warrens, that they can open it. They're like, oh well, clearly we can just put him back.
I think in this world, you know, there aren't a lot of like clear good guys and bad guys, like a lot of different factions with their own point of view, and inevitably Erikson turns things on their head and makes you understand people and groups better and sympathize with them. But I think the Nameless Ones are a bunch of assholes. I think they're some of the bigger bad guys. It's actually, in hindsight, is kind of frustrating to me that we don't, or that I feel like I don't really understand what their deal is by the end of so many books, because I feel like they play an important enough role that should have come up. And, you know, maybe this is a thing for the last couple Witness books. I kind of don't think it's going to be a Carcanis thing, because it's not really a thing in Carcanis. I don't know. I do appreciate having just like some things that are just mysterious in the world, but Nameless Ones are just so important that I wish I understood what like the point of them was, especially because we have so many characters who are associated with them. But we'll see. Maybe it is there. Maybe it's in the books and I'm just dumb. It's a very real possibility.
But so far, we know they release dangerous things out into the world for whatever reason, and they manipulate the hell out of Mapurant by lying to him about what happened to his village.
I mean, they're bad guys, right? Like they're bad guys. Erikson, I'm sure, could introduce something to make them sympathetic, but currently they're bad guys.
Well, they're the epitome of whatever means to an end, like what they did to Mappo. They're like, okay, well, we need somebody to watch him, so we're just gonna kill 1,000 people and blame it on Ikari. Because he would, I mean, he could have done it, all right? This is the kind of thing he always does.
Literally,
so it's like,
what is the end?
To have somebody with Ikarium to help keep him under control.
Actually, okay, here's a pitch. This would just occurred to me as I was talking. They are associated with the Azath houses. The Azath houses are treated as like a cosmic force of balance. What if their philosophy is like the Azath houses? They view themselves as agents of the Azath houses to be agents of balance in the universe. Hence what they're doing with Ikarium. Hence a lot of the weird shit they do.
Yeah, that's
Aren't
kind of what
agents
I've
of
always thought
balance
they did.
already for Cruel Assail? Like that kind of sounds similar to what for Cruel Assail have been doing.
Well, I think narratively it's a
That's
good
another
setup
group
for what
of
we're going to see with them.
jackasses.
Yeah.
Sorry, Shannon.
No, you're that's yeah.
But I mean, okay, so if they are agents of balance, we have to see them doing good things too, right? It's not like the world is so brilliant and fantastic that they only need to release agents of chaos into it. So where are they doing the good things?
That's really a great point. You think that if they were really an agent of balance, they would be like going into places where there is like immense famine or drought and like helping to alleviate the suffering of the poor. Kind of just again makes them sound like the bad guys.
No, I think they're more focused on just trapping the powerful, like the Azath houses. That's their model. Like that's what they think. Like we'll just. So which makes what they do here in the prologue kind of like mind blowing that they do the opposite.
We'll trap the uber dangerous, powerful people, except when we release them. They're like kids with their action figures. It's like we're gonna make them fight. It's crazy.
Well, again, they seem to think Ikarium's the greatest threat in the universe. Like that's. Which and then I guess it sounds like he spends a whole lot of time in Seven Cities, so it kind of I can at least understand it from that viewpoint. It sounds like he's leveled a lot of cities here in Seven Cities. In fact, he maybe is responsible for some of the Seven Cities going down before the past.
I mean, I think that's indisputable. That's like very heavily what's alluded to in Dead House Gates. That at least one of the cities he destroyed himself.
Mm-hmm. Well, and they talk about it when Matt, because he won in chapter 1 and get introduced to him. Do you want to move into chapter 1?
Let's do chapter 1.
Chapter 1. Does it start with Karsa and Summer Day?
Starts with Apsalar arriving in Erlington.
Yes.
So,
And
Shannon, you posted, I think you posted on the forum, or maybe you texted in our group chat. I don't know, but I just remember at some point you had something where you mentioned you were reading this and you were reminded of my complaint about how Erikson will just refuse to name someone, even though it's like, why is this a secret? What's the point here? And I knew immediately when I started reading this, I was like, oh, this is what Shannon was reading when he sent that. What? Why are we treating Apsalar like she's mysterious? Like we don't know, like we know Apsalar. I can maybe understand like a paragraph, kind of keeping it kind of mysterious at the opening, but very quickly it's like, what are we doing here? Great stuff.
I don't know.
Otherwise.
I kind of liked
Love
it
those scenes.
here. I mean, I didn't like it always, but this one I liked it. It was. I mean, I guess if you are the first time reader, you don't know for a very long time, and you just kind of keep guessing.
Right.
I didn't mind in this case. I agree with you that it's maybe slightly overused, but this was a nice surprise, I think.
Yeah, I think for me too, I kind of liked the impact of learning that this person who seems semi-lost or just lonely somehow, because she, one, makes her way in mysteriously. She seems to have some means to travel where she can just like appear, and then she just like goes into this tavern and drinks an entire bottle of alcohol, and then goes to a room and sleeps. And then I think, if I remember correctly, our way back into her is her crying in her room, and that's when we learn who she is. And so I think that build up to where she's at right now mentally, I think it kind of worked to not know who she was at the beginning.
I agree, because you kind of you are trying to guess why is she like that? What has prompted her to, be so desperate and sad and act that way without kind of making the connections to what you already know. And then you can kind of make those connections retroactively when you find out it's her. I think I think it works really nicely in terms of like just keeping the reader interested.
Especially because I think the last time we saw her, she had left Crocus or Cutter, and I guess there's maybe certain scope for anger at her for abandoning him. And so to tell us first how she's dealing with said abandonment, and then tell us who she is, maybe makes it more impactful. I don't know.
I actually, I'm going to go back on what I was saying. I mean, I think the reason I think it might work for me is that she is lost. And so withholding her name, I have to imagine, is a conscious choice to emphasize her weak sense of identity and her weak sense of self.
And I'll take the blame for this, because actually it was this book. It was the character that's in the prologue here that was painfully obvious who it was. And
That's
for
right.
5 pages, I had to wait for them to give a name. And I'm like,
I remember that. I think, man, this is the problem. Reading multiple Malazan books at once, it's like it all starts blurring together.
And in like 3 years, when we get to that book, remind me, because it's stupid. Like, unlike this, there is no point to it. It's literally just 5 pages of waiting for them to say a name.
You have 4 pages more worth of patience than I do. Normally, I just scrub forward until I know who it is and then come back.
Good character work, though. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like a Western, too, in a weird way. Anyone else get those vibes? I really felt like with Apsalar, I was reading a Western.
Mm-hmm. That's true. I didn't realize it, but you're right. Like just drinking alone on the bar. Yeah.
Yeah. It felt like a Western.
And then those people who walk up to her and like dance for us. She's like, yeah, sure. Yeah.
How old is she?
That was something. Apsalar, early 20s, maybe.
I think so. Yeah.
That sounds right.
But yeah, that was one thing. I don't remember this at all, but I feel like, like these 2 party women, and like they talk about a master. I'm like, okay, this has got to be something, but I just have no clue what it is. So I'm looking forward to being reminded what's going on with these people.
Mm-hmm.
I liked from the Apsalar part, for me, what really worked was the Tellerist and Kartool, when we get introduced to them when she goes to the Shadow Realm. Like, I don't know why, I just found those 2 hilarious.
Oh yeah, they're great.
They're
awesome. Love them. I don't know. Does it feel like all of these people who are funny, they have a very similar quality? They're different. They're different enough that they work, but they're also similar in that, like, I'd say this is like if Paston, what's his name? What was the fat dude in Darujistan? Krupp. So, yeah, if Past and Krupp were in conversation, but like, in a much more toned down way or something. Like, there's just they all share a quality, I think, across
Yeah.
the humor, which is different from the
Mhm.
Tehol and Bug humor for sure. But it works, and I don't mind
Mhm.
getting it in like so many different forms. They are different but similar.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
agree.
because Pust, his thing is that he just all of his inner monologue is outer monologue,
Yeah,
and
which
then these
The
two are just
funniest
like their thing
thing.
is that
Oh my
they lie
god,
constantly.
yeah.
that's
I mean,
just
just like
so funny.
almost everything they say is a lie, and it's just like you're trying to figure so I slowed down. I'm like reading it, like, are they actually telling any real truths here? Or are they just like because it's just
Yeah.
I don't know. I
Well,
just
they
found them really
probably
fascinating.
are, right? Or do you think everything they say is nonsense?
Yeah, I think no, they because they do. Well, I don't know because they clearly come from Starfall Deverlane. Like she clocks that, and they still didn't. You know, they're like, oh yeah, we're speaking to Standy because we thought that's what you understood. And it's like, no, you're not. You were
And
because you were into Standy bodies and you were trying to trick her. So
and
I don't know. It's really I'm
What
sure
about
there's some
the?
truths littered in there, but they're any truth is geared at trying to make her think it's a lie.
They want their throne back. What about that part? Did they sit on a throne of
I
shadow?
don't know.
yeah. Did they? Yeah, I was wondering. Did they at some point occupy? Were they one of the people who were taken away
I mean,
from the occupation of? Wait,
I think the
was
only
that
thing we know for
these or the
sure is they're
other the dragons that Cotillion spoke
you're
to,
talking about
or
the
was
three
it both?
dragons, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
But Tellerist and Kartool did talk about a throne too. I mean, we know these two are agents of Edgewalker. That gets mentioned.
Mhm.
They're awesome.
Yeah, they were claimed they were killed by the Shadowhound Baron. Don't know if that's true or not.
Yeah.
Also,
And they also. Sorry. Go ahead.
at some point, I thought they maybe tried to say that it was Callanvet who caught them or imprisoned them, and then like next page they kind of talk about someone else who is responsible for their binding. So yeah, I'm actually not sure
Yeah,
what the timeline with them
yeah.
is.
Did they know the original Apsalar? Because there was that whole big conversation where like we knew
Right. Yeah.
Apsalar, and she was she was an IMAS. Which
That's the first time we've learned that, right?
well, is it true? I don't know. Maybe.
In as much as these two can be believed. And they also lie about whether they are male or female. They keep switching back and forth. Do they not
Mhm.
remember, or is that a weird way of manipulating her to not recognize like who they might be?
They do.
That's true. And they mentioned the demon lord with 7 heads.
Oh,
Um,
the troll baral.
Yeah.
The thing that got released in
Yeah, we can only
the prologue,
guess.
right? Yeah. But yes, I definitely love the humor that these two bring, especially with the way Apsalar's scene was introduced. It just had this weight to it that was immediately lifted up when these two showed up. So yeah, that was a good scene.
Back to what you were saying,
I
Varsha,
didn't.
about like how there is a pattern in the humor and like there is a quality that these humorous characters have. They are very often, or maybe always, really
Mm,
powerful. Like if you
mm,
think about Krab
that's true.
and Iskarlpast and Tehol and these two, like they're really
That
funny,
is
but
true. Yeah.
also they are not what they seem, and they are clearly very, very powerful. So there is a pattern there in that as well.
Yeah,
I,
that makes sense.
I
That's so
think
cool.
what you're latching on to is the kind of natural authorial voice. Yeah, like every writer, every artist is naturally going to have their own tropes in a way that they come back to. And Erikson loves writing questionably mad, like very powerful kind of mysterious, whimsical characters. And they all do have a sort of it's similar, but it is different. I mean, I think he does differentiate them. And I think it is most apparent because, I mean, think of how many pages we have per book, right? Like when you're writing an epic fantasy series, you're literally spending so much time, developing different characters. And so that inevitably there is some overlap. Like I think that there are a lot of Marines you could argue feel sort of like similar Erikson archetypes. And they are all different enough that I think it works. But I do think it's just like we're getting a peek into who he is as a creator and what he values and, just how he writes. And I'm with you that I think the writing really comes alive after these two are introduced. It takes everything that was like interesting but kind of somber and ponderous and elevates it and makes it just electric.
Nice. I like that.
Mhm.
Electric is a good word for the Malazan humor. But yeah, and the three that I'm thinking of, like these two and Pust and Krupp, they do a lot of sort of thinking out loud or just a lot of talking to sort of hide what they're really thinking, which becomes really apparent in the opening of the second chapter. Oh my God, Pust. But yeah, this definitely has that Pust quality to it. These two together, they are doing all their thinking out loud by talking to each other. And so yeah, but it works. It works. It's similar but different enough that it's magnificent, and it works.
I like how
The Pust
Apsalar is not like surprised or annoyed, or she's just
Yeah.
like flat the whole time. Like, okay, sure, there are these ghosts. They're kind of crazy. I'm going to talk to them very rationally, even though they are speaking complete nonsense, and I'm just going to let them hang out with me and take them to the real world, of course.
Mhm. Well, and I think she very much clocks that they're full of crap and are trying to manipulate her. And I think she even says like some point she's doing this partially to like annoy Cotillion because she knows he's going to be pissed off when he finds out she freed him.
Oh, does she? She does.
Great.
She wants to annoy Cotillion. Oh, I didn't catch that.
She says something like like she knows he's going to be mad, and she's like, he owes
Oh.
me. I don't care.
Yeah, she's done with everything pretty much.
So, and then in chapter 1, there were a couple of just brief sections with Leomin and Korab. And I think we all need a friend like Korab that just believes in us when we are giving up. We don't care. And, Korab's like, no, man, we're not running from anything. We're running to something. I believe in him. And I'm like, oh, Korab, are you sure? Because he sounds pretty, like he doesn't give a shit no more.
He doesn't just believe in Leomin. He covers for his ass. Leomin is actively melting down, is falling apart, is like just going fucking crazy. And
He's
Korab is
praying
like,
to Drishna.
no, he believes it. He is a true believer. Everything is okay.
Praying. This whole
Sounds like
time he's praying.
Yeah. Sounds like he was swearing. No, he was praying. He was praying. He's a pious man. And he's like, meanwhile, he's like, man, I wish I had that book. I'd tear it up. So yeah, I love Korab. He is easily one of my favorite characters in this series. Like, I don't know why. There's just something about him. I love him.
He's a great character.
His
He even renamed Leomin,
hallucinations
like
in this scene when he's like licking or eating the toad.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
God.
he's eating the toad. Leomin's like, you're gonna hallucinate. He's like, I don't care. Oh, and then Carson, Samardev is the next part.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about them, Barsha?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I really liked that whole scene. Well, first of all, Karsa helping someone instead of like see person, slay person was cool.
Well, the line that got me here was when he was like, "I haven't taken advantage of a woman in years." I'm like, "Oh, good for you, buddy."
I need blood oil to make that happen. So
Yeah, that's the
sorry,
only
I'm not
reason
gonna
he
rape
doesn't have
you.
blood oil.
Like, oh, Karsa.
These
What a
scenes
medal
are
for that
gold.
one, I guess.
I do feel like we have a tonal shift with Karsa between House of Chains and like this chapter. Like to me, Karsa feels slightly more like cartoonish version of himself. I enjoyed it a lot, but I did feel like I noticed that he felt like more of a joke, or like Erikson was leaning into him, like the kind of like, oh, I'm the barbarian who doesn't understand your cultural norms and says everything I think aloud and things like that. I don't even know if I think it's a criticism because I love the scene so much, but it was definitely something that stood out to me. He just feels like a slightly adulterated version of himself.
I think that might partially be because we got his perspective a lot in House of Chains, and he takes himself very seriously. We know that,
Right.
but less so towards the end of that book. And then later on, it was in the context of Shaik's army and, whatever was going on with Felisin the Younger and so on. So he was this formidable figure who was like bringing justice to all these jerks in the camp. But now, like, first of all, Samarthi was just lying there completely helpless, thinking about when she's going to die because she broke a leg. And why that happened, because she built something and the merch took it out too far and they ran out of water. So that setup is just hilarious. And then this guy shows up and he's huge and he wants wants her to make sure that he's not seen in town. Like,
Hysterical.
Yeah. It's like,
I
how
want
do
to
you
enter town
expect
unnoticed.
anyone can do that?
I do wonder actually, now that we're talking through that, because that actually, I think that was the thing that bugged me the most, was I was like, Karsa, you're not stupid. You have to know how difficult it would be to hide you. I do wonder, because you made a great point, we're not in his head, so we don't know exactly how he's viewing this. If he's like fucking with her, like if this is all a joke, and because like clearly to some degree he is, like he intentionally picks her up like a doll. He does not do the like dignified, my like damsel in distress, like he just like hoists her up and throws her on the back of Havoc, which I love.
Yeah, that's a worse way than when Onrak was dragging Tralsinger by his foot. That's an image I will never lose from
That's
my
so
head.
true.
And when they enter the city, he like immediately knocks out a guard that questions him. I mean, I think he was, I don't think there was ever, he didn't ever expect to sneak in. Like it was going to be,
I definitely get
Karsa.
the sense too that he actively is looking for a fight. That's still his personality, that he's still that guy. Like he's trying to be better, but a part of him fundamentally just wants to like kick some ass. And that's why, he's starting shit with the city guard as soon as he shows up.
If I would give him credit for being duplicitous, I'd say like he just wanted to give her an unaccomplishable task. That's why he's like, you gotta hide me. That's your job.
Exactly. I think he's like fucking with her in that way. Now I'm talking myself into this now. I believe this now, because that actually feels more like the Karsa of House of Chains. Because the thing that I always liked about Karsa was, yes, he is very blunt, and sometimes he doesn't understand. Like he'll just tell you what he thinks, but also he's actually very intelligent. And especially after like Act 1 of House of Chains, like he's always thinking through everything. And so it would feel like a cartoon of him if he doesn't realize that he is very conspicuous. Like he's not stupid. And so I think it makes a lot of sense that he's probably messing with her. And Erikson is a subtle enough writer that he's not trying to draw attention to that.
The way I understood those scenes when she's trying to make up a story to explain Karsa and like to prevent, him to fight with the guards and all that, I thought, he is smart enough to know that she's making it all up and trying to save the situation, but he's just so confident of himself and like of
Right.
himself dealing with whatever situation comes that he is not willing to play along. And yeah, it's a really funny moment where she's like going out of her way to come up with a plausible explanation to all this, and then he's like, actually, no.
Right. Foot in mouth.
Not
Foot in
true.
mouth. Foot in mouth.
I think he just
Oh,
doesn't care at
yeah.
all. Like, he knows that whatever happens, he can get out of it, and he doesn't have
Absolutely.
the need for any subtle lies or anything like that.
That's true. On that subject, do you think he could take the demon that they released in the prologue?
We'll have to find
Good
out.
question.
Yeah. Anything else about Karsa? I think not much happens here other than them going to.
Yeah, plot-wise, not
Mm.
very eventful, but I don't care. These are the two of the best
Yeah.
scenes in these chapters. It's so good.
Where is
And we don't
Karsa
know
going?
who Apsalar is going to kill, right?
Sorry, one more thing about Karsa. Was it said what he was trying, why he was trying to sneak into that town? I don't think, maybe we don't know yet. I think it was just.
Thought he just wanted supplies and wanted to be inconspicuous while he was at it, but I don't know. And
Okay,
his,
yeah, I
his
think that's
carnivorous
it.
horse is hungry apparently. So
Yeah, you got to feed that horse before it starts eating people.
I like that his first reaction after seeing Summer, they was like, "Yeah, sorry, Havoc, you're gonna go hungry for a bit more. She's still alive."
Oh, it's good. It's peak. I mean, this is I think why I like Karsa so much, even though he's done such horrendous things and continues to be a morally gray character. Is like he's just every scene with him is gold. He's just so funny. Oh my god!
But the early, what was it, book 4 or book 3, Karsa, when he's introduced, book 4, he would not hesitate to finish her off to feed his horse, right? You can see that he's making progress.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's changed. No, he is definitely a better person than he was in the start. He was literally like the worst. He's like Joffrey Baratheon. Is like if he gets killed, I will cheer. But he's grown a lot. Most definitely. He's been humbled just a little bit, just a teeny tiny bit. But it's made a difference. He's not a good person, but he is certainly not evil anymore.
He's not the worst.
No, he's not the worst. He's not like Lysine.
Why the random Lysine bashing?
I don't know. After Night of Knives, I was just reminded how much I hate Lysine.
Oh, I'm glad you actually said that because that reminded me. I did want to mention the epigraph to chapter 1. So coming off of Night of Knives, we see apparently just a couple days later, Duiker records Tayshun saying this crowd is full of lies or something, which I thought was interesting because that seems the opposite of what we saw at the end of Night of Knives, where it's like he's agreeing with her on a lie. Dude, like, we're going to make this truth because otherwise we have a problem.
Yeah.
So I just thought that was kind of a really weird quote for him to say at her coronation. Like, I don't know. Like, he couldn't get killed for that, I think.
Yeah.
Or at least she would try to. I don't know if she could.
Yeah, maybe he didn't know that the historian was listening.
Duiker's a little rat, yeah.
Also, the fact that she had a coronation, that's, you kill or get rid of the former emperor, and I don't know, like I would maybe like kind of like be kind of silent about it and like silently take over.
You
But
can't do that though.
she makes it a big deal and has a coronation.
So in her defense, and I can't believe I'm doing this, but in her defense, if you take over an empire, you have to make it a big deal. Otherwise, people are going to be like, "Who's this lady? Like, what is going on? That's crazy."
Gotta make it
The
official.
symbolism, I think, matters. At the same time, I'm with you. I hate it. Reading about her coronation makes me want to like shoot myself in the face. It's
I
crazy.
think the coronation is the problem here, because I don't think Kellenvet ever wore a crown, or like, I mean, it's not like.
But come on. Okay, you've read Paths to Ascendancy, so you may know like more than me. But he for sure had a coronation. Like he for sure did like a whole parade, and I'm sure it was like big and fancy, and then was like never even actually there. Like it was just an illusion. That feels like Kellenvet to me.
We'll see.
I love Kellenvet. He's the worst.
He was never mentioned wearing a crown. I don't think so. So I'm like,
no.
Why are you putting a crown on your head, Lassie? That's just stupid.
It's just stupid. Yeah. Actually, that's a good point. Is it because the scepter is the symbol of the emperor? So did she change it? Does she wear a crown? I feel like we haven't heard of her wearing a crown. But you're right. A coronation, literally, like it's in the word. It's about a crown. Or is he just using that colloquially, and they hand off an imperial scepter? Things only nerds wonder.
Literally, yeah.
What else? There's so much to talk about. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like we have not even started chapter 2 yet.
Yeah.
Oh my God, we haven't gotten to the dragons. We've only talked about the dragons like a little bit, and that was like somebody's topic. That was Varsha. Wasn't that yours?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
That's crazy.
I only mentioned it.
Oh, but Varsha, you started talking about the Apsalar and her target, right?
Yes, I was going to ask. I mean, I guess we don't know. We haven't been told, but do you guys remember who she's out to kill?
Absolutely not.
Membra,
yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, actually, yeah,
Membra.
we did learn that. Yeah, she showed up there.
Who was
right.
Yeah, he was the informant in the city in Erlington against Leoman and Koblikai a long time ago, and then he was also the one who gave Kalam the book of Krishna in Deadhouse Gates.
And then he betrayed him, Kalam.
Right?
Yeah.
So he's a Malazan sympathizer.
So why did Dillian want him dead?
I don't know. We'll have to keep reading, I guess.
It was said somewhere there that it was Kellenvet's wish, right? Like a side job for Kellenvet.
Yeah,
Not that it explains anything. I just wanted to say that.
Yeah. So yeah, that's interesting that they want to go kill the guy who betrayed Kalam. I think pretty much.
That's
an
crazy.
old score to settle.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But how old was it a personal thing, or was it over Kalam? Right? Yeah. It's interesting. So dragons, can we talk about the dragon?
Sorry, if it was over Kalam, why would Shadow Throne care so much? Or like,
yeah, that's my question too. Like it doesn't seem like something he would care about. Like, let Kalam deal with it. But
okay, but like go beyond Kalam and think of it as like this guy was a double agent and actively aided the apocalypse, and the apocalypse is anti-Malazan, and Shadow Throne presumably took that personally, even though he's no longer the emperor.
Yeah, that's a good theory.
That makes sense.
He's like the only one who can annihilate Malazans is me. That's it.
And I do actually kind of remember what's going on here. So maybe he had his own motivations too. Maybe he was only up to his own stuff that crossed Shadow Throne a little bit. But if we're ready to move to chapter 2, I again wanted to mention the epigraph. I don't know why all these epigraphs like really work for me. I cracked up so hard on the like, now then who wants to be a tyrant quote. Like, I wish I had a teacher that told me that when I was a kid. Like, that's awesome. And also the fact that she's like I don't know, I'm gonna call her like a fifth wave Malazan feminist, you know? Like, I don't need no man. Like, I love the whole thing.
I'm actually really glad.
And it's set up good for Iskaral Plus. Like, it was just.
I'm glad you brought up that epigraph, because a thing that stood out to me is we have talked previously about, like, do they have schools for sorcery? Like, what's going on? How does their like institution, like, what are their institutions, right? And this kind of tells us something, it's not a lot, but it kind of gives us a hint that we can like extrapolate from, right? That they do have these schools that they will take presumably kids off the street and like
waifs and urchins.
Yeah, right.
is
like,
the name
and turn them into like Imperial agents. And I think that is one, awesome, two, horrifying, and three, tells you a lot about how this empire functions, and also makes a lot of sense when you think of who Kellanved and Dancer were as non-immortal people. I mean, we don't know that much about them within the books we've read, but we do know some that they like started as basically mobsters and rose up, and so I think it's cool hearing that.
Also, Mistress Boo. I have so many questions, but I guess they'll have to wait.
Oh my God, I also had that thought. I wasn't going to say it, but
read the book you guys are alluding to, but I know this spoiler. So like, I do know, like, I know. I had the same, I think I had probably the same thought. Like,
Moving on.
Yes.
So is Iskaral Pust?
Oh my God. Okay, so here's what I want to know. We wondered before about whether Pust was like knows what he's doing with the thinking out loud, and he's just doing it anyway, or it's part of his manipulation algorithm where he's sort of like telling people what he's thinking, but he's really thinking something else. But I feel like this scene makes it pretty clear to me that he's bloody clueless, or he's such a master manipulator that he's manipulating the gods that he's serving.
I had my reaction was, to me, this scene makes it so clear that this is a bit, that he knows that like, this is such an insane situation. And I think the thing actually that gives it away for me is that Kellanved and Cotillion keep him around. Like, they would not keep him around if he wasn't like competent, and so I think it is all part of the illusion game. At the same time, I think like Kellanved, he probably is kind of crazy too.
Yeah.
Like I don't think he's an incompetent, but I do think he is kind of crazy. And that this is his way of using his crazy to his advantage and to keep people on their toes. Like, they never know what to expect.
What Kellanved does with illusions, he does with words, apparently.
No, exactly.
The fact that they let him ramble on for so long and he's just talking to me.
Yeah, this scene is the most Pust has worked for me in the series to date. Like I'm not the biggest Pust guy. I like him sometimes in moderation, but this scene is not moderation, and I loved it. Like, the entire, I remember reading what you posted in the forum before I got to it, and when I got to it, I was like, okay, yeah, I want to go back and reread some of these slides. This is great.
And he's like, silence. Perhaps he's making an observation. Yes, that must be. Look back now and say aloud, indeed, my lord, silence.
And he's calling the god all kinds of names.
Yes.
They're just like sitting there listening to him.
Yes, that's what I was.
This god is insane. I serve an insane god. What kind of expression does that warrant?
Like, it's the god you deserve, man.
Yeah.
But
yeah. Oh man.
And then when Shadow Throne is like, you can read that he can't believe that he's saying it. I don't know what his purpose is going to be enough for. Like, I have decided you will have to do, but apparently Shadowthrone himself can't believe he's saying that. That's just, it's great.
Yeah, I love that we've come to the end of this. Like, I guess maybe the scene went on for a little bit. It's like, when Shadowthrone says, "I have decided," and he has commentary on that too. It's like, okay, why doesn't he just say something if he's decided? Why does he ramble on like this? You are going to have to. That is maybe my favorite line ever. Makes no sense out of context, but
and it even continues in like after this Karlpast is gone and Converge is like, do you think he'll be sufficient? He'll get there in time? And Cotillion is like, no. And then, who asked you?
No. Like, no. Do you think he can do it? No. Do you think he can get there in time? No.
Who asked
That
you?
was so funny.
Yeah, I don't think Cotillion actually has faith in him at all. I think Shadowthrone does, but I think Cotillion's like, what are we doing?
He's just standing in a corner and smirking, which also Pust notices, but supposedly has no clue why.
On to the
Oh,
dragons.
boy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So our insane lore drops here.
Dragons. So
Dragons and
Edgewalker.
Edgewalker, right? We also learn a lot about Edgewalker,
Yes.
I think.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, Edgewalker intercepts Cotillion on his way to the dragons, to whom he offers that he will release them, but then extracts answers to a lot of questions and is like, okay, bye. Okay, thanks, bye. And I feel like we got answers to some questions that sort of came up during the Night of Knives discussions. Like, for instance, well, and I think some questions that we've just had for a long time, like what caused the shattering of Kural Emerlan? And we found out that it was Carpentary Blood Eye. I thought maybe they were victims of something that happened to their warren, but this guy apparently did something with
That
wait,
was
I don't
already
remember.
on in the prologue of Midnight Tides in the conversation.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think so. I think when Silchas Ruin and Skabandari talk, it is mentioned something like, oh, he's actually actively working on the breaking of the warren or something like that.
Interesting.
But now we have it confirmed here.
And so it seems that, and the question that we had during Night of Knives was, what is preventing the Throne of Shadow from being occupied? Like, why all the occupants keep getting chained or destroyed in some way? And it seems that where we left off in the Midnight Tides prologue with, like, we don't know what the heck Rake is going to do when he finds out about this betrayal of his people. It seems that this was the outcome of that. Because he wanted vengeance, and so he made the throne unoccupiable. Yeah, it's just Andy.
It's just Andy or what are keeping the throne empty.
Right.
Because Edgewalker posed that question, I think, at the very end of Night of Knives. It's like nobody ever asks why this throne's empty.
Yeah. And why do they... Okay, so sorry, side silly question. Why does Cotillion keep calling Rake Anomandiris? I thought that was the name of the poem, but is that his name too?
His name, yeah. His name in current Malazan is Anomander Rake. If you go back in time, Anomandaris is...
Yeah, it's like,
I don't know if that was the
like
original, but that's...
He went by Timothy, and now he goes by Tim.
Okay. All right. Got it. So
or,
Timothy.
Or Timo.
Well, remember, he's like hundreds of thousands of years old. His name's changed over time.
Okay. That makes sense. So yeah, I think it was really interesting. We learned a little bit more. I think I forget now while rereading, but is this the first time we find out that the Warrens are sort of powered by dragons? That each dragon is responsible for, has the aspect of the Warren, and that Krull also created backups so that because these dragons can be killed, and so if one of them dies, I think that also we had a question about like why are there so many gods of storms and things like that. So I guess Krull created backups, which good. I'm proud of his engineering, and so
redundancies. That's important,
yeah.
right?
So yeah, I think this was a fascinating conversation that gave us a lot. I think it was brilliant the first time I read it, and it's so much more meaningful now on a reread with context.
Now, I did want to ask about the whole the soul taken thing, because he acts like he says there's the Tistidor, Scabandari, Tistandis, Animander Ray, Leos and Zosser, Talana Mass is Olar Ethel, which I guess we knew that, but I don't know. And then Draconis is an unknown, so we don't know what Draconis was. But like, what about like we know of other ones too? Like these aren't the only soul taken. We know. I mean, we saw Sister Sprite or Sister Spite earlier, and we know that. So like, it's more than just like one per race. Like I don't know. That was confusing to me. But I guess maybe they're just they're all backups. Like they're all, because you need more than, what is this, 5? You need more than 5 backups. So I guess that's the idea.
But that was in the context of whether the soul taken are also aspected towards specific warrants, right? So are these the ones that represent the Krull,
well, it would be
Ghislaine
shadow,
and all.
darkness, light, fire, fire, there. Yeah.
So do the other dragons also have the same aspects? Like Korlat was a soul taken, right?
You guys.
So,
yeah. Well, you guys point out Sister Spite was a Oda Tyrell. So I guess she's Sarval Demerlane. So like she's more connected to that than
yeah, I mean,
else,
this
maybe.
part, it kind of stayed open because it started really interesting when Cotillion saying like, okay, the Hellian dragons had to leave back to Star Demerlane because if they stayed around, there would be imbalance. Like, what was it said? The sorcery would cease to be predictable, and that feeds chaos. So, basically, we can't have these creatures that are magic aspected to be existing together with our use of magic. They need to go away, otherwise chaos is thriving. And then he's like, okay, but soul taken are still around, and that's an issue. But then he doesn't conclude what exactly the issue is, or maybe I just didn't understand that.
Yeah, me too. I wasn't sure what
did
the
you guys
conclusion was with the soul taken.
Yeah. Because, at some point, Cotillion stops talking and he's like, I'm not really interested in all that, to be honest. And I'm like, but I am. Can you keep going? Why was he saying all this?
Because chaos, chaos is something we talked about like early on in the series. Like in Gardens of the Moon, that was kind of a big thing that Erikson talked about, was this kind of threat of chaos. But then that's kind of been forgotten about by this point, because that was books ago. So, but now we learn that the dragons feed chaos because they make magic more unpredictable. So, yeah, I think it seems important.
And then he kind of flips it and starts talking about the crippled god and the elder gods specifically at first, and then that's his pathway into the topic of the crippled god.
That was the whole point, right? I mean, that's why he was talking to them, was the crippled god. And his proposal was that you will work with me to fight off the crippled god. And then he ended up not needing that because they gave him the information he needed, which is how is the crippled god different, and how is the crippled god doing what he's doing, poisoning the Warrens?
What does he learn from them about the crippled god? Can you remind me? I can't remember.
That the crippled god is an alien. And very specifically by that I mean is from a universe disconnected. He's not an elder god. He is something else.
Yeah, he has some.
Which we did know. We did know that. They do say that. He asked that. But then the thing that ends the conversation is he's trying to figure out how the crippled god is poisoning all the Warrens. And he is doing it through, I want to say, yeah. So he was trying to figure it out exactly what's going on there and how the crippled god, the nature of the crippled god and how the crippled god works. And he did that and was like, okay, I don't need you anymore.
When he says thank you, that's all I needed to know. That's after the dragon says, a sundered realm is the weakest realm of all. Why do you think the crippled god is working through it? So I guess what Cotillion wanted to know is, I guess he wasn't aware that the crippled god is using all these fragments of Corral Emerlan to make his plans happen.
I would be even more specific and say that the crippled god is specifically infecting Emerlan to infect everything else. That the crippled god has invaded Emerlan, and Cotillion was not aware of that. And obviously this carries a lot of weight, not only because they are in a fragment of Emerlan, they are gods of Emerlan of a sort, but we have just read a whole book about exactly how the crippled god is manipulating Emerlan.
Yeah, I'm surprised Cotillion would not know this already and would need to find out from these dragons, because there was this whole thing with the Penny and Seer, and wait, maybe that wasn't about Corral Emerlan at all.
No, that wasn't Emerlan. Yeah.
Okay, but yeah, it just seems like not big enough revelation, but maybe it's because we have witnessed everything and Cotillion hasn't, but he's a god. He should probably know a lot more. At least it seems like he knows much more in this conversation than he admits.
My suspicion is that he does have an idea, but he doesn't have confirmation. And what he's getting here is confirmation that the things he and Shadowthrone suspect are in fact true. Because he doesn't seem that surprised that the crippled god is an alien. Like that, you would expect he would react much more to. I guess he's kind of a cold-blooded person in general. But my sense is that he had theories. They had theories. And this is confirming one way or another what's going on.
Okay. Yeah, I think he's still saying a lot of things that don't really relate to anything at the end. And it's just for the sake of someone saying them. I was a little bit bothered by this. Like, all that about the conflict between Elaine and Soul Taken and how they affect Warrens, and then it doesn't really connect to the crippled god stuff that he's after at the end. I was a bit bothered by the lack of continuity there.
Yeah, I wondered if he just switched gears, because he did sort of trace a path towards the elder god questions, like towards the crippled god. But I think for us, it's not. It's like we don't know what the connection is. I think we have to talk about this section a bit more during the spoiler chat to see what it tells us about the rest of the series.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
well,
if you're
they
reading
mentioned
this for the first time, it's weird. Yeah,
the throne and the question whether or not the throne is the real one, and if I thought it was interesting when they were like,
Yeah.
is Kalanved really occupying the real throne? The real throne is not even in this fragment, and then the counter is Kalanved in this fragment? Like, I guess that was really interesting because we always have been saying that Shadow Throne is not sitting on the correct throne of Shadow, and here Cotillion is kind of questioning that. I guess maybe he's just maybe he's making it seem like that's true.
I think he's bullshitting.
Yeah.
Is this the throne that the Testandi were protecting on Drifter Valley?
Correct.
The real throne? Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
And
I feel like there would be all of that would be playing out very differently if Kellenbed was actively sitting on the Elder Shadow Throne.
And the throne that Tral and Co are protecting, that's a different one. That's the Imas throne.
First round.
Yes. Yeah, which is what he talks about here. The crippled gods attacking on two fronts. He's going after the Shadow Throne and the Talana Mass Throne.
Okay, that makes sense. Are we ready to move on from this section?
For sure.
Sorry, one more thing. Elemental force and Edgewalker admits to be an elemental force, right?
He's an elder god.
He's an elder god.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, that's it. Thank you.
And I also did want to bring up that Cotillion feels like he can't trust the Shadow Hounds because they might be tainted and twisted by the Tistidor and the crippled god. Which I don't remember if that goes anywhere, but that was just a really interesting idea he brings up. Because he's like, we need allies. Like, it's just right now it's just me and Shadow Throne.
I want to know which part or which statement from the dragons is telling Cotillion that crippled god is an alien. I can't really find it. Can you send me a message, Carl, after this?
Yeah, I'll try to find that. There's at some point where he's at. It's like in the context that
I think it's the silence.
Yeah, is he an elder god?
Because he asks them point blank and they don't answer.
Oh.
They're like,
yeah.
You kind of get that out of because they've been answering, and then he asks them this question. And they're like, no.
Okay, I see.
That's.
Yes, yeah, that sounds right. It's like explicitly like, is he an elder god? No. Well, then does he come from somewhere else? Silence. So it plays out something like that. I'll try to find the actual passage though, and post that in the forum. Shall we finish up with the
next section? Is Akarium and Mappo.
Yeah.
Anybody have any thoughts on them and getting reacquainted with them?
I'm going to be honest. I mean, I actually feel like largely the remaining scenes are just kind of getting us reacquainted with everyone. Like Ikarium, I mean, I love them all, but like we don't learn anything
more of his
new.
Memory back? Is that the implication of what? Because he does seem to remember names of cities, and in fact, he wants to go to some city. The Mappo says we were there 80 years ago, and you didn't remember why anything about it. So it seems to be like he's starting to remember a little bit. Which is that dangerous? Is that I mean, I think the implication is it's supposed to be dangerous, or at least dangerous to Akarium for him to remember what he's been doing.
Well, I think beyond Akarium, I think the fear is that he'll Hulk out if he remembers everything. And then we get Cutter and Co.
And then Crocus. I refuse to call him Cutter. I will never call him Cutter.
So
Crocus,
funny.
I'm not going to, because that is the dumbest name anybody's ever named themselves.
I love it. It's so stupid. Gray Frog is the best, though. Gray Frog is the I love Gray Frog.
I liked it when he took he broke somebody's arm off and scratched his own back with it. Like, I was like, that is wild.
He's such a freak.
Yes.
He's like,
I like when he's like, these fleshy women. And
yeah.
And Cutter is like, they're not that fleshy.
He's such a freak. I love Grey Frog. He's
Yeah,
like,
Grey Frog
he's
is
so weirdly,
easily one of my favorites.
yeah. He's always been one of my
I mean, I
favorites.
don't-
He actually probably is my favorite demon that we meet. I love Grey Frog so
I
much.
agree.
So funny.
I agree. But yeah, Heboric, Scalera, still pregnant. Thinks it's Corbelodoms. We don't really know yet. Bellison's just there.
Yeah, she hasn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
And then Malazans, right?
And then the Malazan.
And then we get to the
him.
Malazans.
And they're still, getting up to no good. Bottle is a good dude. Smiles. Almost
is psychotic.
Yeah, is bleeding out her comrade and almost cuts his genitals off. And
stab them in the calf.
Yeah, what's his name? What's the name of the half setting? Korik, yeah, that's right. And he's not helping the situation by taunting her. You kind of are waiting for something to happen there.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about before the recording. I was like, I don't remember if these two hook up, but they seem like they're gonna hook up.
Right, I don't remember, but this definitely feels like an Erikson lead up to a hookup. Like I'm waiting for the moment where they start making out. And then and then we get the remaining bridge burners who are there debating if Tavor is actually competent or just lucky. And Dujik and Tashrin arrive. And Kiska showed up, and I like cheered. I was really excited.
Yeah, that's the other thing I'm really sad Dan and Steve aren't here, because it's like, well, here you go. Like, Kiska's still apparently a bodyguard for Tashrin, 10 years in the future.
I must have read Knight of Knives after I read this, because I don't remember her being in this. So I don't remember if she does anything, but I was really excited to read that. And she's got like the soldier's tomboy haircut and is wearing silks, it's almost like a shadow dancer or something, gray silks or a claw. It's interesting.
Yeah. I don't know. It doesn't seem like seems like she's his sidekick rather than turning out to be a claw like she wanted to be.
Who wears?
Because she's still because because Hatter's still there too. Like Hatter, they mentioned the SETI with the mustache. And that was definitely Hatter.
Who wears the gray clothes? Is that the Shadow Cultists? That was the Shadow Cultist, wasn't it?
Yeah, I think
maybe.
so.
In Knight of Knives, I think so.
Yeah, so maybe vaguely Shadow adjacent, telling her allegiance. I don't know.
And then I liked Quick Ben. I liked the Tashrin showing up, and again, I feel like this is informed by Knight of Knives, because he shows up and Quick Ben's like, yeah, he's kind of misunderstood. He wasn't, it's like he's not as bad of a dude as you think he is. But then, of course, he immediately starts being an asshole to Quick Ben. He's like, well, you got a field promotion to High Mage. You're not really a High Mage. And then, and I love that little story. It's like, well, do you remember this High Mage up in Black Dog Forest? That was actually me. Pretend, with a different name. What was it? It was like Rule the Rude or something.
Rule the Rude, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, apparently he was pretending to be he was pretending to be somebody else, and he was a High Mage. Which, was he a high? I mean, like, I didn't really follow that whole conversation quite all the way. Like, did Kellenved actually send him and know who he was, or no? Like, it sounded like no, but I wasn't sure.
Wasn't the guy like a real guy and he died, and then Quick Ben like took over?
I
may be completely making that up, but that's.
I thought he was like his new secret identity was that guy, and then they made him die so that like there are no questions.
So he could go back to being Quick Ben.
Yeah,
that makes sense. Okay.
This whole conversation was. I actually want to go back and read it again, because like it's you can feel that familiarity between like Quick Ben and Kalam and Fiddler. And then even when the even when Tayshran arrives, they kind of like, discuss the old days and there is a little bit of rivalry, but it's all kind of in good spirit. I had a really nice, like, good feeling about this part where like they're like old buddies catching up and discussing the events ongoing right now, but you can kind of feel that they have been through this before, or like there's like so much to remember from the past.
Yeah, I did, and I did like Fiddler and Kalam finding out that some of the bridge runners did survive because they think they all died, and then Quickpen's like, well, no, it's what is it? It's Perrin, Mallet, Picker, Ansi, Blend, Spindle, and Blue Pearl. So there's 7 survivors out of the whole army, and they're all hanging out in Darujistan apparently. So Fiddler's talking about how he maybe wants to go to Darujistan at some point.
I think that's it.
No, I did want to bring up Pearl and Lostariel, and Pearl is still an asshole, and I still hate him because
Oh, I love that.
there's that last scene where she's getting like eat up by like bugs or something, and he's like, yeah, I could stop her, or I could it's a simple cantrip to stop this, but I think I'll let her suffer. And then he thinks like, oh, we're perfect together. I'm like,
They're so mean to each other.
Jackass, you suck. Like I hate Pearl so much.
It's fair. I love them together though.
And there was one bit I liked this. So when he's talking about when he was Rule the Root, he saved Tayshran from a Tistandi assassin, but Tayshran lost this item that could summon a demon. And then we get a reference to Quickpen used that demon to against Animander Rake back in Guardians of the Moon. So the implication is Quickpen stole it from him and blamed it on the Tistandi. I thought that was great.
Yeah, that's true. Also, Tista and the assassin mages, have we heard about anything like that before? Like, I want to know more about
literally
Tista
in
and
Guardians
the
of
assassin mages.
In Guardians of the Moon, they were assassinating the assassins to create an assassin war.
Corlat's one of them.
Assassin ones.
Were they Tista and
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the only time they come up. It is a weirdly very like you would think that would be important. But it's like barely a plot point in Guardians of the Moon and then never comes up again.
No.
Okay, that's why. Thanks for clarifying that.
Oh. Yeah, Corlat, there's another soul taken. And Orphantal. So again, there's just so many. Like I don't know.
I don't know how that works.
I question this.
Yeah. I definitely don't think it's like one aspected to each Warren. I think it's more than that. And they just
multiple
have to
redundancies.
Because the Warrens themselves have, like, we know, a hierarchy. There is a a system, right, to them, and that the systems may not be innate, but that they exist.
Okay.
Quote?
I have no quotes.
I don't think I had any this time.
I think I don't have very many either, but yeah, I mostly marked things out that were like sort of interesting for later spoilers, but not many quotes.
Yeah, most of mine were just like, I like that, who wants to be a tyrant line, or
this
Smiles, saying Setis are failed Wiccans and Korak is a failed Seti. I thought that was hilarious.
Summer Dave says one who binds risks getting bound in return, about some spirits, I think, that she likes to bargain with, not bind. So that was interesting, especially knowing about Karsa and whatever's going on with his sword and him being bound to the sword as a result. So
Oh, that's a really interesting point.
I hadn't thought of that.
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, you really made me look at Samar Dev like a lot different this time. Like, just kind of pointing out her POVs, and how it's different from Parsis.
Hmm. Yeah, she's an interesting character. And
I'm excited to see more. Yeah.
Yeah. What else? I think that's it. I don't have more quotes.
You
Do you have
covered
any
my
more
big things. Yeah.
This one. Sorry, this one's a bit long, but about Kartool, I thought this was really funny. So she had been told often enough about those glorious days of long ago when Kartool Island had been at the pinnacle of civilization. The present sordid condition was the fault of the Malazans, everyone agreed. Autumn had in truth arrived upon the island and its morose inhabitants. More than the cult of Drek had been crushed after all. Slavery was abolished, the execution pits had been scoured clean and permanently sealed. There was even a building hosting a score of misguided altruists who adopted lame dogs. So I thought that was brilliant. The pinnacle of civilization when they had slavery and things were never clean. And, people were
especially
executed.
like in a page before they mentioned how the dogs were stoned to death before
Yeah,
by
exactly.
children or something like. And now, I mean, there are like pet shelters. That sucks.
All part of the celebration of the festival of Drek.
Yeah, that's something I've always enjoyed about Malazan is Erikson's. He comes at, I don't know, colonialism. Like there's positives and there's negatives.
Right.
It's not all bad. Like they do, like there's good things, and like Kartool is a good example. It's like, yeah, they were up to some really crappy stuff before the Empire came in.
Yeah, the empire of it all. It's interesting. I agree.
Yeah.
I think eliminate. I mean, it's funny how like I know Rome was such a big inspiration, clearly for the Malazan Empire, but the Malazan Empire itself being anti-slavery is like so anti-Roman, with Rome being like a notorious slave state that was upheld by legions upon legions of slaves. It's
well, and then there's also a lot of like female leadership and stuff. Like it's more progressive.
Yes,
Roman Empire.
Yeah. No, I mean way more. Yeah, absolutely.
And that doesn't mean they still don't do bad things, like we see that in Genebacus, we see that in other places where they overreach, but
absolutely.
When you say female leadership, I just remembered something I wanted to say about that last chapter when like it is clear how Fiddler and Kalam and Quickben, they have no idea about Tavor and like how she's a mystery to every single one of them. And I think it's like there's this exchange where they say, how was your meeting with Tavor? And Quickben is like, your guess is as good as mine. I have no idea. Anyways, yeah.
I'm so glad. I thought you were going to defend Lysine there for a second, and I was about to fall on my sword.
No, never.
So, anything else?
Nope.
All done. Okay, we'll be back next week with chapters 3 and 4.
Cool.
Yeah. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon. Bye.